On this video, Rockey Robbins describes the experience of trying to develop a culturally competent program for Native Americans for an organization involved with healthcare and addictions.
They said they wanted a culturally competent program, and they wanted a community-based intervention. They wanted to involve Indian people from the very start, and they wanted as many tribes as they could possibly do to develop this program. And so what we did was, they called me in, and I met with members of 25 tribes, and we all been in this hotel, this big hotel room. And the people who were kind of financing the whole thing said, okay, we want to create a program for y'all. What do y'all want to do the program? They said, well, it's got to have something to do with drug and alcohol problems. I said, okay. We all said, okay, that's good. And it's got to have something to do with Indian identity issues. And so we need to come up with, so we all talked about it, and they said, okay, we got a bunch of ideas, now we're going to write the program. Let me tell you what happened. This is so crazy. So it was a non-Indian group that was going to write the curriculum for Indian people, okay? And we didn't really, we were kind of confused, but we gave them all of our ideas, and so surely we made our contribution. Well, when they show back up, we have a Euro-American, and she gets all of us back together, 30 people back together. So we're sitting there, and she said, okay, we've written the program. We've got 15 activities, psychoeducational activities, to be done in all of the states of Missouri, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Texas. There were like six states. And so this is something you need to know. I'm bringing you to the Indian world, okay? This is really Indian world. So we get there, and they are presented. They're non-Indian people. And they get up there and they said, okay, the first activity we wrote, it's called the wagon wheel. That was the first activity we did, the wagon wheel. And so we had all of these Indian people, traditional Indian people. I mean, they were really traditional. Most of them were drug and alcohol counselors that didn't have bachelor's degrees in Oklahoma, and so, but they were really connected to the drugs and said, wait a minute. So I remember everybody kind of looking at each other. Nobody said anything. We're trying to be respectful as we could. And so they bring us up and said, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to introduce yourself, and you're going to talk about the first experience you ever had with alcohol. And so, because we asked to do it if you can connect with alcohol. And then when you get finished, you'll walk around each other like this, and then you'll go to the next person. And then you'll walk around the person like this, and the other person will be on the other. That way, everybody gets done here. You have 3 minutes apiece. 5 minutes, I don't know what it was. And so this is what happened. They got us in the wagon wheel. We're sitting there, and then there's a Comanche in there. The Comanche goes, I can't move that way. And the woman up front said, what? You can't move that way. And another guy said, Chinaman goes, no, we don't move that way. We don't move that way. What are you talking about? And then another person said, well, what else can we say? We can't move that way. And I finally said, what they're trying to say when you're doing ritual and ceremony, certain tribes can only move certain ways. Like when we do our splits, we go in the energy moves in a figure 8. And so the way you go around like this, and then you have the vision quest at the buffalo head, yes, or kind of this way. It's very important the direction you move, because we have seers, and the seers see which way the energy's moving. And so they're very aware of this. And so this woman was going, what are y'all talking about? She said, this isn't a ritual. This isn't a ceremony. All we're doing is an activity. This is a psychoeducational activity. And then one person said, no, you set this up ceremony. You set this up ceremony. And we can't do this activity this way. And then this Muskogee woman said, and that title you gave us, Talk about are the connotations we have with the wagon wheel. That's the symbol of our colonization.
Yeah. Right.
And they were like, we never thought of that. And they said, well, let's just go to the next activity. We went to 15, and they spent $8,000 to get this thing written out. And so everybody was being really nice. I mean, nobody was mean at all. Everybody was saying these things in the nicest way, and everybody was trying to appreciate the work they did. And so then we went to the next activity, and they had a little film, and it was family therapy with Native Americans. And so we were waiting on the family. We're going to discuss it. Part of the things we said, and when we're sitting there, and we have a Euro-American man, a Euro-American wife, and a Euro-American teenager sitting in the front at first. And we're going, okay, this is interesting. And so the man, the father, is an alcoholic, and it goes through 8 minutes. It goes through like 8 minutes or so, and it's these horrible conflicts they have, screaming matches, all sorts of problems. No Indian said a single word. They sat through there, we watched it, and then she said, okay, let's discuss this. And she said, something like, how does it impact the family when there's a person that abuses alcohol? And I remember the first thing that was said, this Seminole man said, what do you mean by family? And she said, well, like this particular family that we watched just now. And another person said, that's not what our families look like. We don't have families that look like that. And they were, what do you mean? What do you mean? I said, well, and the person said, well, usually the heads of our family is grandma or grandpa. They have the most power. They usually, in our country, live in the home with us. And the mother and father are really important, but they're not as powerful as the grandmother and grandfather. And we have a real extended family situation that has to be taken into account. And so they were so frustrated. They were so frustrated. And all we did for the next hour was to comfort them. And we were saying, thank you so much. We know how hard this was. We leaned over the next ones. I can't even describe to you how off the other ones were too. They were so off for what our families look like. It was unbelievable. But can you imagine this? Just think if you went into Indian country and you said, okay, let people move here to your left. And somebody says, I mean, how many of us would have made the same mistake? Really? So how could we be mean to them? They didn't know. They didn't know. And so every person there was really sweet to them. And, you know, you've worked so hard. We so appreciate you. Could you raise your hand? Somebody goes to him.
Yeah, but I don't want to interrupt you, Sam.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, but I think, I guess part of my reaction is that you're very generous in your spirit about these kinds of, episodes. But the issue for me there is that the problem started with them deciding that they could get your information and that they would have the power to then write the program. And that is not so benevolent.
Right. Yeah. Well, what ended up happening then was, after we went through this, we said, could we have Indian people write this? So you're right, perfect timing. Thank you. So we said, could we have Indian people to write this? And they said, yeah. And they said, who would you like to write it? So we talked, and they said, have Rockey be the primary writer. We have to get him on the east side. See, this is Indian world. And the civilized tribes, big conflict. And so they said, we got to get shot, because Rockey's shot Cherokee and Choctaw. We got to get a Cheyenne, get that Comanche guy. They even had a Navajo person that was from New Mexico that they wanted on it too. And so there was like 5 of us, and we began to meet, trying to generate ideas, and then I wrote the program. Anyway, we got together and we met for 2 months or so, and then they turned me loose on trying to write up the stuff. I spent another 2 months writing about 15 activities. And so we utilized all the basic ideas about that we started off with, making it tribally culturally relevant, the ideas about making a community emphasis, dealing with things like historical trauma. You can't work with Indian people unless you're willing to work with historical trauma. Dealing with things like acculturation issues, because there's all sorts of levels of acculturation. You'll find some Indian people that know nothing about what we're talking about, the Swiss, or things like that. So you have to deal with that. Interconnectedness, the idea of extended family, the ideas of experiencing prejudice, the notion of community healing rather than individual healing.